This is Ed Crow. Thanks for joining. I think we'll get started. I have 1 o'clock. I know traditionally we get a couple people that will come on as we go. If you come on late or if you can't watch future webinar, don't worry about it. A couple things I talk about is that we record all our webinars. So if you, and we traditionally do them every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock. So if you want to, watch a future webinar, but you can't make it, don't worry, we'll record it and we send the recording out to everyone that registers. So for future reference, if you can't make it, just register and you'll get a copy of the recording. And like I said, we do them every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock. Next week, I have a conflict on Thursday, so it's just Wednesday next week. And next Wednesday, we're going to go over SEO with blogs, which we already did last week, but that was a more broad topic. Next Wednesday, we're going to do specifically how to make the blog, so it will search well on Google and other search engines. If you have questions during the webinar today, please just send them into the question section, and I will answer them at the end, if I can, hopefully. My webinars usually run 10 to 20 minutes at the most. Sometimes I have people call in and say, "Oh, I missed it," or "When does it start?" And I'll say it's already over often. So I keep them quick. I know you don't want to sit and listen to me drone on for a long time, so I try to get to the point with them. And today's webinar is something I'm excited to talk about. We're going to talk about our seminar vendor, so our seminar selling system that we've been using. Just to give you a little background on it, it is a vendor and a program for T65s for seminars, for putting people in the seats for seminars for agents to sell, to get prospects for Medicare. And we have a long history with this. The parent company has used them for 10 years with great results. We tested them out ourselves over the last few months with 5 or 6 different agents and agencies, and they've worked really well. So been really thrilled with the feedback. This isn't a theoretical thing. We've seen it in action for a long time, and it does work. So having said that, we'll talk about it. Okay, so our seminar selling system, I'll give you just kind of a description of the program, let you understand what you can expect for attendance, locations that they'll do them, the cost, co-op that's available from us, and then some best practices and how some agencies use them to recruit agents. So we'll talk about all those things. Give you the program description to start. So we use a vendor. Their whole focus is setting up seminars for agents. So not necessarily setting it up, but driving attendance to it. So they make all the reservations, they do all the solicitations, and they will put people in the seats for seminars, and they will be largely T65 prospects. That's really all they go after anyway, and that's the majority of the prospects you get at the seminar will be people turning 65. Our rep that we use, she's very knowledgeable. She's worked with them for a long time. She's been setting up these seminars for a long time. I suggest when you talk to her, when she gives advice or tips, she's doing it from experience. So I strongly suggest to take her advice seriously, because she really does know what she's doing. What you can kind of anticipate for attendance, what we've been seeing is 40 to 60 people attending the event. So when I talk about doing a seminar or an event, I say an event because there's one charge to drive the attendance, but usually you break it up in 2 sessions. But again, these will be mostly T65 people attending. They'll be turning 65 usually in the next 3 to 6 months when they show up. These are done as an educational event. The reason they're done that way is because at an educational event, you can serve meals or give a gift card to attend. I suggest the meal. The reason you want to serve the meal is because it will get your attendance higher. We found that if people do these just without anything, without a meal, that they usually get about half of the attendance. So it does reduce the attendance. So suggest a meal. You have to keep it under $15. So keep that in mind. I'll talk about that a little more later on in the presentation. Again, I have a bunch of new people that came on. We will record this and send it out. And if you have questions for me, just send them into the webinar and I'll answer them for you at the end. Or like I said, I'll try to answer them anyway. Okay, so location and timing for these. First of all, the vendor can do these anywhere. So anywhere in the United States, they can do them for you. Some areas, if it's a really sparse population, they might have trouble getting the invite out to enough people. They'll certainly give you that feedback that they might make you increase your area. Densely populated areas, you can get it really specific. But it's just, about how many people are turning 65 in that given area. But we found it's best to have 2 sessions. So they're going to charge you for one event, but they're going to do 2 different times. They're going to make the reservations for 2 different times. And usually it's best to have one midday, or some people do them in the morning, but you definitely want to have one in the evening because a lot of these people will still be working. The way they do this is the agent secures the location. It is usually a restaurant, a diner, somewhere like that where you can serve a meal. But that's up to you to find a good location. One thing I would tell you to focus on is parking. That is doesn't seem like it'd be a big deal, but it really is. So you want to have good parking, and you want to find a place where you can keep that meal. Again, we're not talking, fancy places. You want to find a place where you can keep that meal cost down. So again, a midday or morning and one evening event. Common places you see these done, well, it depends geographically where you are, but we'll see a lot of pizza places, diners sometimes, lower cost restaurants. Like, for example, down south, you see a whole lot of like Bob Evans, Golden Corral. Even better if you can book it so you get a little bit of breakfast and lunch at Golden Corral. But you'll see kind of lower end, places where they can keep the meal cost down. And as I said here in the slide, it's not an annuity seminar. I think sometimes people overthink this and they think it's an annuity seminar. I got to have a fancy meal and a fancy place to get them there. You don't. That's been proven. These people are looking for information. I mean, they're going for the information. The meal's kind of the lure to get them there, and it helps. But a lot of these people are turning 65. This isn't like with an annuity where they can decide to do it or not to do it. These people they're going to enroll in Medicare and get a plan, so they're looking for that info. So the vendor will drive attendance, and like I said, they've been averaging, they get 40 to 60 people for their T65 events, assuming a meal is served. Certainly we've had some agencies that will help with that attendance. I mean, the more the merrier, if you think about it. So the vendor on their side, they will identify the area and they'll get you counts. So they'll say, all right, on this area, we've got enough counts using this big of an area, or, it's pretty sparsely populated. We need to expand the area. They mostly use to fill these events, mailers and Facebook to book these people. They have a registration system, which is really nice. It's an automatic registration system, so it'll register the people. And as an agent, you will have access to that registration portal, so you can see all the registrations. I know a lot of agencies will call them, ask them if there's any maybe dietary restrictions, and just say, confirming they're attending and looking forward to seeing them kind of thing. They don't all do that, but I certainly think it makes sense to do so. But you'll have access to all that information. You'll also be able to access the information for the people that register but don't attend. What helps with attendance, which can get even bigger numbers than we're talking about, is if you participate a little. You don't have to, but if you do in trying to drive people there. So maybe if you're a P&C agent or a health insurance agent or have a book of business in general, you might as well invite out of your book the people turning 65 in that book in the next, say, 12 months even. Invite them to your seminar. I mean, why not? Makes sense to invite them. And you can send them invites. You could call them and invite them. You could do your own Facebook posts. If you're going to do these seminars and events, you certainly can do your own Facebook posts, but at the least, make sure you talk to Pinnacle or talk to us, and we'll have Pinnacle set it up. Pinnacle will do Facebook posts on a separate Facebook account for you, and they will pay for paid ads. And they do those to drive members to events. So seminar is perfect for that. So you can get some free advertising from them free paid budget to help drive attendance. But, doing it on your own certainly helps as well. One of the biggest questions we get is, well, what about the presentation for the event? So for me, luckily, that's my background. I sold Medicare plans. I built my book largely from doing presentations. So I have a generic presentation that I used. I think it's good, but I'm obviously biased. But certainly you can use your own if you're more comfortable with that. But if you need a suggestion for one, I have one. I'm updating it a little right now and getting our graphics team at Pinnacle to put it in a little bit better looking format. But once I do that, I'd be happy to send it out to you. I should have that done end of this week, early next week, and we can provide that to you as well. I definitely recommend having 2 people at these events. You'll find if you're one person, and I always found this, I always usually did them by myself. Later in my career, I started adding a second person because people tend to line up at the end for questions. And when they do, if you're just one person, it takes a long time to get through them all, and you'll get some people that'll leave in the meantime. So it's always good to have a helper, whether that's a licensed agent or just somebody you know or somebody from an admin capacity in your office. That certainly helps. I think the most important thing with this, and one of the easiest things not to do, is the follow-up. Really important. Keep in mind, these are T65s. So you get some of these people will attend, and they're not turning 65 for 6 months, 7 months sometimes. And follow-up is incredibly important. Calls to all the registrants, people that register, rather. If I can probably say that easier. So the people that register, calls to them. The ones that didn't attend, calls to them. The ones that attended, just a lot of thorough follow-up is the key to this thing. Really is. The vendor will run these seminars all year. That's what's so nice about this. We have some agencies that are going to run them all year. I know through some of our partners who have been doing these for years, they do them every single month, some of them. So you can run them all year. They will do T65s, that's what I'm talking about today, but they also can do dual seminars. Dual seminars usually get much higher attendance because not as many people do dual seminars. And if you think about it, from a true seminar with a meal standpoint, you don't see a lot of them for duals. You certainly see a lot of dual community events and meetings and things like that, but not true dual seminars. So if that's your thing, they certainly can do them. They're looking to do dual seminars because not many agents want to do them. So what about results when you do these? Well, it ranges based on location, and it certainly ranges based on the person doing it and the follow-up. I mean, it makes it variable. But in general, what we see is usually 14 to 20 plus enrollments for these. These are mostly T65s when you're doing the T65 seminars. So 14 to 20 plus enrollments. The way this won't go well is rarely have there been ones where there just isn't good attendance. It doesn't happen that often. It's usually pretty consistent with the attendance, but lack of follow-up. Just not doing an effective presentation, not engaging the audience, not getting their contact information. Those kind of things can hurt your results. But if you do it the right way, you're going to get the enrollments. What does this cost? So to do the event, which covers both days, to put the people in the seats, they have 40 to 60, your average cost from the vendor is going to be about $2,300. Keep in mind, these are mostly T65s you'll be enrolling. So if you happen to do a lot of Advantage enrollments, I can do the quick math in your head. It works. What we will do is we will split for people who want to try these for the first time just to see if they like them. We will co-op that initial cost from the vendor. We'll split it with you. So we'll split that cost with you to get your price down on the first one so you can try it with a little less risk. Also, if you're doing meals, the meals are going to run you about $600. So, roughly we split the cost with you. It's costing you about $1,100, and then the $600, around $1,700. But if you think about what you spend on mailers and other various things for the number of T65 enrollments you'll get here, like I said, the math comes out pretty well. The reason we co-op the first event is to see if you like it. If you like it and you're getting the enrollments we're talking about, then the math will work even without the co-op. At that point going forward, you could use our lead program. Probably most of you are familiar with our lead program, but that's ongoing. That reimburses agents $500 a month. So even after we co-op the first one, if you want to continue to do these, you could submit them to our lead program for the $500 off the cost. had a lot of people join kind of throughout here, so if you have questions, please just ask them at the end, and I'll answer them for you. So we've had agents using this and agencies using this to write business. We're starting to use this for our agencies to help them recruit sub-agents. So at Crow & Associates, one of the main things we do is we try to find people that want to be GA, MGA, SGA level agencies. And we help them recruit with our lead program and those kind of things. But this is a great way to have recruiting seminars because this company will do the same thing. They'll put agents in the seats for recruiting seminars. We've worked with them to kind of tweak their usual recruiting because their usual one's kind of generic. But we've got some really specific things that agents are interested in, so we've got them tweaking that kind of to match up with the value and programs we offer. And for our agencies, they're offering the same thing. So, great way to recruit if you're into that. If you want to talk about that, just certainly feel free to give me a call. For the recruiting seminars, we can provide the presentation format. We've done 1 million of them, so I've got the presentation format. For those who want it, we can help with that if you want to assist in the actual seminar if you'd like. There is a co-op available for that for agencies. I would say that we'll do that on a case-by-case basis. So if you're an agency that works with us currently or an agency that's thinking about working with us, feel free to talk to me about that. We can case-by-case talk about co-op dollars to do a recruiting event. What they will use to put agents in the seats for recruiting events is they'll pitch our free lead program because obviously as an agency with us, you can utilize our free lead program, act like it's your own. We're the ones who pay for it. Crow does, so it doesn't cost you anything. You obviously have access to Connecture, Sunfire, and Medicare bot. You can pitch the seminar program for agents who are selling because obviously it's an effective way to sell, and obviously all the other technology we have. If you have questions about the agency levels, GA, MGA, SGA, I love talking about that. I'd be happy to talk with you about it, give you guidance there. Crow & Associates started as just myself as an individual agent selling Medicare plans and kind of built it from there. So I have firsthand experience on how to do it. So I'd be happy to discuss it. That's it. Like I said, I try to keep them fairly short. That one actually went a little over for me. That's what we have for today. Remember, recording will be sent out to everybody that registers. I'm going to check to see if we have any questions. If you want to check out any of our training videos, just go to you can just Google if you want YouTube Crow & Associates, and we have all our recorded webinars on there. So all the ones we've done the last 3 or 4 years are on there on various topics if you want to see them. All right, let's see if we have any questions today. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at using the question box, but I'm going to try. Okay, let's see. We got a bunch. Okay, somebody asked me if I know firsthand the results. Yes, we do. We've seen the results from this for a long time. Next question is, how much distance in the geographics do you need in order to fill the seminar? Okay, it depends on where you are. I mean, in some areas you can do it with a 5-mile radius. It depends on the population. But they will work with you to get counts to see what that situation looks like. So they work step side by side with you on that. Should you use 2 locations? Yes. No, I'm sorry. Let me go back. You should do 2 different events, but the same location. Don't use 2 different locations. I would say if you're going to do a seminar, try the same location at 2 different times. If you don't get quite what you want for attendance, certainly you could look at for your next one doing it somewhere else. But yeah, keep both events at the same place. Good question, though. With such tremendous rush hour traffic, what's the best time to do the evening seminar? That's debatable. I have people tell me different things with that. Some people do them like early evening, 6 o'clock. Some people do them later, like 7:30. I guess that depends a lot on where you are and and kind of probably feeling it out a little bit. Can you call the people that sign up the day of the seminar? Yes. What is the commission level at SGA? It's pretty much the same carrier to carrier. It depends on if it's an Advantage or supplement. I would say just give me a call, and I'll talk to you about that. SGA has requirements to get to that level. We could certainly talk about that, what the carriers will require. They won't let us just put somebody in it at SGA. We'll have to show that they meet the requirement. It's probably not as stringent as you would think. But give me a call, and we can talk about the SGA level. Can I run the math of a successful seminar? Well, yeah. I mean, I would just say, it's what I would do to run the math of a successful seminar is if you look at it, obviously a majority of them will be turning 65. So, and then you got to look and say, okay, for the state I'm in, here's the max commission, CMS max. If you're a street level, if you're GA or MGA or SGA, it'd be higher, but run the max commission, and then you got to look at the area and try to figure out, based on what you usually write, how many will be supplements and drug plans versus Advantage. Whatever that mix is, let's say it's 60% Advantage, 40 supplement. Well, I mean, if you look at, say, 15 enrollments and do 40% of those at a supplement and drug plan commission versus 60% of them at a new MA commission, you can kind of back into the math on that. But you'd have to kind of evaluate what your mix of business is that you write. Have you recorded any seminars that we have that we can review? Yeah, a ton of them. Just Google YouTube Crow and Associates, and they're all on there. There's a lot of them on various topics as well. Good questions. Let's see. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that's all we have. So let's see if there's any other questions. Nope, I think we're done. I appreciate the questions. Thank you. If you have any other questions, feel free just to call 203-796-5403 or send us an email. And then again, next Wednesday, we only have one webinar next week. It's on Wednesday, and it's how to make a blog, very specific, how to make a blog that will search well online through a search engine. Other than that, I thank you for your time today. I hope everybody has a great day, and we will send out a copy of the recording to everybody who registered. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.